Support grows for West Papua cause. More specialist sniffer dogs needed for Pacific Games. And Air New Guinea plans to slash airfares next month.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartulo.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Sunday's news. Papua New Guinea continues to take a backseat on the West Papua issue. However, Northern Governor Gary Juffa is taking an active stand to rally support for West Papua. He is calling on the national government to join with other Melanesian countries to speak on the plight of the West Papuans.
There is growing support from the international community towards the West Papua issue. Fiji's opposition recently made it clear to rally behind the Free West Papua movement. Images of atrocities published on social media continue to draw widespread condemnation, prompting calls for a unified approach. Vanuatu has been the only Melanesian country vocal on the plight of the West Papuans. They have even pushed for West Papua to have full status in the Melanesian Spearhead Group. While Papua New Guinea government remains silent on the West Papua cause, there are several politicians who are voicing concern. NCD Governor Poes Pakop and Northern Governor Gary Juffa are parliamentarians in the forefront of the West Papua issue. In an earlier interview with EMTV, Juffa expressed his disappointment over the national government lack of support.
I think that a greater effort has to be made by Papua New Guinea. We should join our brothers in Vanuatu. We should also encourage other Melanesian countries, and we should take this to the United Nations, who failed the people of West Papua in 1965 when they handed over those people to Indonesia without consulting them.
He is slowly gaining support from other like-minded Papua New Guineans to rally behind the Free West Papua movement. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
Tension is high on Manus Island. Groups of asylum seekers have barricaded two compounds within the detention center and are not allowing staff to enter. A PNG government source has told ABC News that the asylum seekers are being denied food and water. Minister for Foreign Affairs and Immigration, Rimbing Pato, says policies agreed to by both governments under the Regional Resettlement Arrangement are working. Pato says the actions by a minority of asylum seekers coerced by advocates in Australia will not change anything. Police Dog Unit boss Luth Nidung says the police and defense hierarchy must take into consideration the unit's appeal to have more specialist sniffer dogs before the Pacific Games this July. Nidung said with the country hosting a major international event in the coming months, the PNG Defence Force must also have sniffer dogs to help the police in sniffing out possible bomb threats in the country.
NCD Dog Unit boss Liut Nidung, who has been preparing his officers for the Pacific Games, says the PNG Defence Force needs its own firearms and explosive detection dogs. With the Pacific Games only a few months away, it will pull thousands to the nation's capital.
You never know what is going to happen. We must be prepared. We must be prepared, especially with firearms and explosive.
Firearms and explosive detection specialist Sergeant Dominic Nassam said his partner Sheldon will be overworked during the games. He said it is only fitting for the PNGDF to have its own bomb detection dogs to help the police. He said they will monitor the Jackson's International Airport.
Definitely, this airport is first thing first. Normally all the cameras we will by stable airport past. Bien or narco ablo sleep, ablo bogo pilai, bogo da abam play. So we work big work now, we work all the time. Because now me one or so them talk here, me ba flat out.
With the country having only one dog specialized in sniffing explosives, the call for having more dogs cannot be ignored by the government.
So it's my appeal to, the police management and maybe our ministers to, look at this sort of situation and focus in the next 15 years to come, in the next 10 years to come, in the next 20 years to come.
Meanwhile, NAC Acting Managing Director Joseph Tupiri said the renovation of the Jackson's International Airport will be complete in time for the Games. Stanley Ove Jr., National EMTV News.
The drop in crude oil prices on the world market has pushed for the reduction of airfares both on the domestic and international sectors. National flag carrier Air New Guinea will reduce its airfares beginning February. Chief Executive Officer Simon Fu says the decrease in airfares allows fuel surcharges to be reduced as well.
Domestic travellers will see a reduction of up to 10 kina per one-way sector of the airfare. On the international front, passengers travelling to Cairns, Brisbane, Sydney, Honiara, Hong Kong and Nadi will see a reduction of between 30 to 40 US dollars. Air New Guinea Corporate Affairs Department explained the airline will continue to monitor crude oil prices. If prices continue to drop, savings will be passed on to customers and the travelling public. More tour fare seats will also be available in the coming months. Meanwhile, the national airline has announced that its flight schedule for the domestic sector is now into full operation. Kavieng and Rabaul have been allowed 3 flights daily. Mount Hagen and Ley have additional services of 4 flights each. Air New Guinea will operate 4 daily flights to Mount Hagen on Monday, Friday and Sunday, and 3 daily flights on other days. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Stay with us. More stories coming up after the break. Welcome back to the news. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture will continue to promote Papua New Guinea and its diverse culture and traditions on the world map. Agencies under this ministry, Office of the Tourism, Arts and Culture, National Cultural Commission, PNG Tourism Promotion Authority and the National Museum and Arts Gallery have pledged to work together to implement the national government's policies.
This is another challenging year for the Tourism, Arts and Culture Ministry to achieve its obligations and fulfill the national government's key role of service delivery. Agencies recently discussed the 2015 way forward. The PNG Tourism Promotion Authority has developed strategies like the marketing and global internet as guidelines to its implementation. With 4 major markets overseas, PNG will be linked and promoted.
It's mainly educating the travel trade out there in our major markets as well as other emerging markets.
The National Museum and Arts Gallery is the home and future to our past. This historical remains are administered under the War Surplus Materials Act that facilitates the implementation, ownership and determination of remains.
We've embarked on a path of rehabilitation and growth in the museum, and for that we are trying to renew internal systems of administration and government, and we are also forging new alliances with international governments and other stakeholders in the government.
Minister responsible Boke Kondra is keen to working closely with agencies under the Tourism, Arts and Culture Ministry to drive the development priorities forward. This is to achieve results as required under the new Public Service Management Act 2014.
I am prepared to actually work together with my agencies and with, to see better results by the end of 2015. I'm appealing to people of Papua New Guinea to actually harness tourism.
Meanwhile, the amalgamation between the Office of the Tourism, Arts and Culture with the PNG Tourism Promotion Authority was also discussed.
We also looked at the areas of the 2010 government decision in regards to amalgamation of the OTEC and TPA, and how do we get this policy worked. So I think they have been given the task to actually now work on to see how we can make it become implementable.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
We'll bring you all the sporting details. That's up next.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Papua New Guinea is in a do-or-die situation at the Under-17 OFC Championships in Apia, Samoa. Papua New Guinea will play against Samoa tomorrow and rivals New Caledonia in Group A. The win is important as it will qualify them for the semi-finals.
There are hopes ahead for our boys to meet New Zealand in the semis when they play Samoa tomorrow and second place in New Caledonia in the A group of the OFC Under-17 Championship. Comprehensive victories for New Zealand and New Caledonia have seen them leap to the top of the Group A table. PNG on the other hand remain positive to recoup and fight back after going down to powerhouse New Zealand in their second encounter. The match between PNG and Fiji on day 3 of the championship was expected to be a test, but even affair and lived up to that prediction. Both sides struggles to get a foothold. However, our boys were given better chances during the run of play, but weren't able to access the back of the net. PNG walked off scoreless against arch-rival New Zealand in their second match. The 3-0 deficit calls for our boys to make changes in their game plan as they take on New Caledonia on Wednesday. Group A leaders New Zealand will play against New Caledonia, while PNG take on Samoa tomorrow. Fiji will play Cook Islands. In Group B, Vanuatu on 6 points, Tahiti and Solomon Islands trailing behind with 3 points each, and Tonga yet to register points. Tere Alex, National EMTV Sports.
Sports are an aspect of developing human resource in the country and more importantly in rural settings. The Lagaria community in Lufa district in the Eastern Highlands province is one rural community that ensures sports brings unity amongst its people.
The main focus was to keep youth busy and away from drugs, illegal homebrewed alcohol, and other illicit activities known in this area. Little is known about the Lagaria LLG in the Lufa district of Eastern Highlands province. However, unlike any other rural communities, sports are played during the festive period and other special occasions. 10 neighboring communities included Forapi Bafuti, Nirokahanito, Hibu Enagaru, Kemakamate, Fore, Kamano, Kami and Fogo set aside their grievances and joined forces in a game of soccer, volleyball and rugby touch. Host Polly Ifina understood the importance of bringing the communities together. Mr. Ifina, a local from the area, anticipated to have this sporting carnival to continue for the next 5 years. The Lagaria LLG Sports are now looking to affiliate with the Goroka Sports Foundation and seeking support from business houses and sports ministry. Tere Alex, National EMTV Sports.
To sports overseas now, an Australian fast bowler Mitchell Starc has been criticised for his lack of intensity and weak body language. Today he let his bowling do the talking. He dismantled a stubborn Indian innings, taking 6 wickets for 44 in a sublime outing at the MCG.
It wasn't the first ball of the day like in Sydney, but it was the first over. Mitchell Starc picking up where he left off.
What about the damage Mitch Starc's doing at the top of the order?
Shikhar Dhawan sent walking for 2. Rahane sent James Faulkner flying. Rohit Sharma got involved too.
Up and away. Have some of that.
But this was no long-term partnership. On debut, Gurinder Sandhu.
Sandhu's got his first wicket. It hasn't taken long either.
Enter India's danger man.
Oh, that should be out.
And the key wicket for Australia. Virat Kohli barely troubling the scorers.
It's a big wicket for Australia, a massive wicket.
India's middle order was doing its job, and that was annoying David Warner. The Aussie opener got stuck in. But where it really counted, the visitors were scoring all the points.
It's a fine 50 today.
It was a quick-lived celebration when Starc struck.
And out.
Sharma's reply, though, all class, a well-earned century.
It's another one-day international 100.
The highlights that followed
Bowled him.
Belong to Australia.
Mitchell Starc's now got 6.
And that is our sports segment. The weather details when we come back.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather information is brought to you by Tablebirds.
Look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, Port Moresby fine, showers and moderate winds for Daru, fine for Kerema, Alotau and Popondetta. To the Momasi region, fine weather in Lae, fine also in Madang and Wewak, and a shower or two expected for Vanimo. Over to the New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, you can expect a shower or two. Fine weather expected for Buka, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, all centres isolated showers, then scattered morning fog. And that has been the news this Sunday, the 18th of January 2015. Do tune in at 7 p.m. this evening for Talk Picsa. Pleasant viewing and have a safe working week.